Unit 7. Tape script 7.1. 1.
What the? Where do you think you're going?
What do you mean?
Well, you can't turn right here.
Well, who says I can't?
That sign does, mate. No entry. Can't you read?
I couldn't see it, could I?
You should get your eyes tested, you should. You're not fit to be on the roads.
2.
I think you should swallow your pride and forgive and forget.
Never. I will not.
You'll have to in the end. You can't ignore each other forever.
I might forgive him, but I can never forget.
It must be possible to talk it over and work something out. Say you will, for the sake of the children.
Oh dear, I just don't know what to do for the best.
Tape script 7.2. 1.
What the? Where do you think you're going?
What do you mean?
Well, you're not allowed to turn right here.
Who says it's not allowed?
That sign does, mate. No entry. You ought to be able to read that.
It's impossible to see.
You'd better get your eyes tested, you had. You're not fit to be on the roads.
2.
If I were you, I'd swallow my pride and forgive and forget.
Never. I refuse to.
You'll have no choice in the end. You won't be able to ignore each other forever.
Maybe I'll forgive him, but I'll never be able to forget.
Surely it's possible to talk it over and work something out. You have to, for the sake of the children.
Oh dear, I just don't know what to do for the best.
Tape script 7.3. 1.
You won't tell anyone, will you?
Of course I won't.
You really mustn't tell a soul.
Oh, look, trust me, I won't say a word. I promise.
But I know you. You're bound to tell someone.
Look, I really can keep a secret, you know. Oh, but is it okay if I tell David?
That's fine. He's invited too. It's just that I want it to be a big surprise. Oh, what do you think I should wear?
Oh, if I were you, I'd buy something new and expensive. I'll go shopping with you if you like.
2.
I don't know if I can play this evening.
But you have to. You promised to.
Yeah, but I'm not allowed to go out on weekday evenings. My parents won't let me, not during my exams.
Why don't you tell them that you're coming over to my house to do some revision?
But somebody might see me playing and tell them. You'd better find somebody else.
There is nobody else. We'll just have to cancel the match.
Tape script 7.4. 1.
I'll be able to take you to the airport after all.
2.
Is it okay if I make a suggestion?
3.
You're allowed to smoke in the designated area only.
4.
If I were you, I wouldn't wear red. It doesn't suit you.
5.
You are required to obtain a visa to work in Australia.
6.
It's always a good idea to make an appointment.
7.
You're bound to pass, don't worry.
8.
You aren't permitted to walk on the grass.
9.
I didn't manage to get through. The line was engaged.
10.
I refuse to discuss the matter any further.
Tape script 7.5.
Hello? Isabel, hi. Why all the excitement? Yes, I can. I remember you doing it in the coffee bar. It was the one in the Daily Sun, wasn't it? Didn't you have to name loads of capital cities? Never. I don't believe it. What's the prize? You must be kidding. That's brilliant. For how long? Well, you should be able to do quite a lot in 3 days. And the Ritz-Carlton? I'm impressed. Doesn't that overlook Central Park? I thought so. Not that I've been there, of course. What do you mean? How would I ever be able to? You can't be serious. You know I'd love to, but why me? Well, surely you should be taking David. Oh, I'm sorry. I didn't know. When did this happen? Well, what can I say? How can I possibly refuse an offer like that? I certainly will.
Tape script 7.6. Exciting news.
Hello?
Rick? Rick, is that you? I've got to talk to you.
Isabel, hi. Why all the excitement?
Well, can you remember that competition I entered, just for a laugh, a few weeks ago?
Yes, I can. I remember you doing it in the coffee bar. It was the one in the Daily Sun, wasn't it? Didn't you have to name loads of capital cities?
Yeah, that's it. You've got it. Well, get this. I've won! I came first!
Never. I don't believe it. What's the prize?
A trip to New York.
You must be kidding. That's brilliant. For how long?
Just 3 days. But it's 3 days in the Ritz-Carlton of all places.
Well, you should be able to do quite a lot in 3 days. And the Ritz-Carlton? I'm impressed. Doesn't that overlook Central Park?
Yes, it does.
I thought so. Not that I've been there, of course.
Well, you can now.
What do you mean? How would I ever be able to?
Well, it's a trip for 2, and I'd really love it if you would come with me. Will you?
You can't be serious. You know I'd love to, but why me? Well, surely you should be taking David.
Haven't you heard? David and I have split up.
Oh, I'm sorry. I didn't know. When did this happen?
Well, a couple of weeks ago. We haven't been getting on well for ages.
Well, what can I say? How can I possibly refuse an offer like that?
You'll come then?
I certainly will.
Tape script 7.7. An arranged marriage.
How old were you when you met your husband, Pratima?
I was just 16.
Were you still at school?
No, I'd left school, but I was having private tuition at home to prepare me for some exams.
And your father arranged your marriage, is that right?
That's right.
Could you tell me how he did that?
Well, he looked around for a suitable husband. He asked friends and relatives if they knew anyone and found out about their education, their background, and, most importantly, the family's background. He managed to get a lot of information about them, you know.
And how long did this take?
Not too long in my case, but you know, sometimes a father can see up to 100 men before he chooses one. For my sister, my elder sister, he saw over 100 men before...
He saw how many? Goodness, it must take up a lot of time.
Yes, it can be difficult to decide, but for me he saw only 2. One in the morning and one in the afternoon. And he chose the second one.
What a day. Can you tell me about it?
Yes. Well, in the morning, the first man was very wealthy. And he was well dressed and had good manners, but he hadn't had a good education.
Ah, and the other one?
Well, he wasn't terribly wealthy, but he was well educated, and he came from a good background. His family owned a village and were like princes. He was 22 and studying law.
And this one your father chose?
That's right. I think he thought money wasn't everything. For my father, education was more important. And anyway, if a man is well educated, he will earn in the end. Actually, Shyam, that's my husband's name, Shyam didn't want to get married at all, but his father had told him he must. So, when he came to my house to meet my father, he was very badly dressed because he hoped my father would refuse him. But luckily for me, my father did like him, and he had to say yes.
He had to?
Oh, yes, he had promised his father.
And what about you? Did you meet both men?
Yes, I met them that day. First, my family spoke to them, and then they called me in, and we spoke for 4 or 5 minutes.
And did you prefer the second?
Well, actually, I wasn't sure. I left it to my father.
Well, you must trust him a lot.
Oh, yes.
So, what happened next?
Well, after a while, there was a special day when I went to meet his family, and his family came to meet mine. It was a kind of an engagement party. But we, Shyam and me, we used to be on the phone every day, and we'd meet regularly, but always we had to have a chaperone. And after 10 months, we got married.
And how long have you been married?
Nearly 25 years now.
And it's been a successful marriage? Your father made a good choice?
Oh, yes, of course. And we have 2 beautiful sons. They're 22 and 17 now.
And will you arrange their marriages?
Oh, yes. My husband is planning them now. He's been asking families for some time already, and...
And your sons want it?
Well, Krishna, he's the eldest. He's okay about it. He's studying hard and hasn't got the time to meet girls, but...
Yes, what about the youngest? Ravi, isn't it?
Yes, well, actually Ravi's not so keen. It might be difficult to persuade...
But you still believe that the system of arranged marriages is a good one?
Oh, yes, I do. Of course I do. But, it depends on a lot, especially on the family choosing the right person. But one main reason I think it does work is that the couple enter the marriage not expecting too much. If you see what I mean. Actually, there are many more divorces between couples who thought they were marrying for love. My mother, she had to marry at 13, but she's still happily married nearly 50 years later. Of course, nowadays 13 is considered too young, but times change.
Yeah, that's very true. Thank you very much indeed, Pratima.
Tape script 7.8. 1.
Your friends went to Alaska on holiday. They went where?
2.
You got home at 5 this morning? You got home when?
3.
You paid €300 for a pair of jeans. You paid how much?
4.
You met the president while you were out shopping. You met who?
5.
He invited you to the palace for a drink. He did what?
Tape script 7.9. 1.
You always get out of doing the washing up. It's not fair.
How did our secret get out? Everyone knows now.
If news of this gets out, there'll be a huge scandal.
2.
You're always getting at me. Leave me alone.
What are you getting at? Just say what you mean.
I can't get at the sugar. It's at the back of the cupboard.
3.
It took me ages to get over the operation.
He couldn't get his point over to me at first. He had to explain it again.
I can't get over how much your children have grown.
4.
That boy is always getting up to something naughty.
We got up to page 56 in the last lesson.
I had to get up at 5 a.m. to catch the plane.
5.
I couldn't get through to Joe. I don't think his phone's working.
We got through loads of money whilst we were in Paris.
I failed, but Sue got through the exam with flying colours.
6.
She can always get round her father and get exactly what she wants.
I'm sorry, I just haven't got round to replying to your invitation yet.
I can't see how we can get round this problem. It's a difficult one.
Tape script 7.10. 1.
They're obviously madly in love.
Yeah, they do seem to get on quite well.
2.
His family are pretty well off, aren't they?
You can say that again. They're absolutely loaded.
3.
You must have hit the roof when she crashed your car.
Well, yes, I was a bit upset.
4.
I think Tony was a bit rude last night.
Too right. He was totally out of order.
5.
I can't stand the sight of him.
I must admit, I'm not too keen on him either.
6.
He isn't very bright, is he?
You're not kidding. He's as thick as two short planks.
7.
I'm fed up with this weather. It's freezing. I suppose it is a bit chilly.
8.
Well, that was a fantastic holiday.
Yes, it was a nice little break.
9.
I'm knackered. Can we stop for a rest?
OK. I feel a bit out of breath too.
10.
I'm absolutely dying for a drink.
Yes, my throat's a bit dry, I must say.
Tape script 7.11. 1.
Is that a new watch? I bet that cost a bit.
A bit? It cost a fortune.
2.
It's a bit chilly in here, don't you think?
You can say that again. I'm absolutely freezing.
3.
These shoes are rather nice, aren't they?
They're gorgeous. I want them.
4.
Can we stop at the next service station? I could do with something to eat.
Me too. I'm starving. I didn't have breakfast this morning.
5.
I think those two like each other, don't you?
Like's the wrong word. They're obviously crazy about each other.
6.
I bet you were a bit upset when your team lost.
Me? Upset? I only cried myself to sleep.